episode 23. Happy Labor Day to everybody. I forgot my drink over there on the counter, which sucks. Let's see, get the chat and make it go from top chat to live chat.
On my
Welcome
screen,
everybody in the chat. It's already moving a couple of guys in there.
on my screen, you like just disappeared.
Pretty much. My computer, for whatever reason, decided to stream us in 144, so that's cool. Everything was blurry. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
All right, so as the thumbnail shows, I got a 4 dice. Only have about 10 minutes on it so far, so I don't really have a whole lot of input on it other than it seems pretty good. One of the shocks is already leaking, so that's kind of super annoying after only having about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna have to see if I can rectify that situation. The other thing is I set this down on my bench the day I got it, the night I got it. I set it down on the bench, and I came in the next morning, and I went to pick it up to move it, and it was absolutely stuck to my workbench. The tires were like glued to the bench. Empties are pretty sticky. You kind of see they stick to themselves pretty well there.
Kind of like those boom racing, what was it, snail, whatever they had?
Yeah, the snail slime or snail trail or whatever they called it. I'm afraid to put this down on anything dirty because I feel like it's just gonna be stuck to the bench or be stuck to the tires, whatever you set it down on is definitely gonna be stuck to it. Is it basically a Phoenix with a regular VFD and a different cab? Essentially, yeah. It doesn't have the VFD Twin. It has the Phoenix straight axles, and it has a new cab. But otherwise, yes, it's a Phoenix.
Pretty simplistic.
But the 10 minutes I have on it, it seems pretty good. But yeah, we'll see what I end up doing with this. I have a couple of ideas, a couple things in mind to do with it. I haven't started on anything yet. I want to drive it a little bit more before I start tearing it apart. So yeah, I got a Phoenix, and then I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago, a buddy of mine built a RC track behind his house, and so I ended up buying an 8-scale buggy, and it's filthy dirty because I went and beat the crap out of it on Saturday night at his house. So I need to clean this. There's a couple things that need to be done on it. It needs some new rod ends. They're pretty loose. And then this rear sway bar needs some loving as well. It doesn't appear to be doing a whole lot because the bushings kind of fell out of it. Bushings and bearings kind of fell out of the holder back there. So I need to take care of that. But yeah, I have a Techno Buggy now for no reason.
R&D.
It's always something. 8-scale buggy racing in the backyard of my buddy's house. But he went all whole ham. Transponders, lights, driver stand, whole 9 yards.
Pretty cool.
So it was fun. Definitely fun running. That was 2 Saturdays ago. No, it was this Saturday. Yeah, 2 days ago. Saturday, we were out there. But yeah. So I've spent way too much money on RC crap this week.
Yeah,
like way too much.
I was figuring you were gonna say that.
I don't want to buy anything for.
Would you get into? Was that all you did this holiday? Was
hang
burn some packs?
Hang on. had to turn my Wi-Fi off apparently. Other than burning some battery packs in the Techno, didn't really do a whole lot. Floated in the pool quite a bit. The weather's in the upper 90s here this week, or this weekend. So yeah, just basically floating in the pool.
Pretty chill.
I know you were out of town, out Galveston.
Yeah, Texas coast, chilling. Pretty nice down there. I haven't been down there before. I had pretty mixed reviews going down there. I heard it was ghetto, and I heard it was cool. Spot I was in, pretty nice.
Is it a little bit of both?
I think you could probably go into a certain part of town, and it would probably be kind of rough. But
yeah,
go to like the seawall or whatever, or the beach where everyone's gonna go. It's pretty nice. Sunsets down there pretty cool. But yeah, I had a good time. I'd go back.
Cool. The other thing I did at the end of last week, you can kind of see above me part of a car covered in plastic. That was my grandpa's 55 Bel Air Convertible. It's been off the road since about 05. Grandpa passed away in 07, and it sat in my uncle's barn and my dad's barn since then. My dad finally, it's my dad's car now, and Dad finally decided it was time to get working on it and get it back on the road. So he brought it down here to the shop, and we threw it up on the lift, and gonna start going through it and updating some things, and put a fresh motor and trans in it, and start driving it again. Enjoy it a little bit. It's not a perfect car by any means. Grandpa wasn't nice to vehicles. He was an old hot rodder from way back in the day. So yeah, it's very nice. It photographs well, but it's not perfect. So we don't feel bad about driving it. Lathe door is open. Did I get it fixed? I've made a little bit of progress, and I did call tech to come out and do it. The unfortunate part is they are about 3 weeks out, and it's $240 an hour to have those guys come out. $240 an hour, and they're driving from about 3 hours away. So I have at least 6 hours worth of $240 an hour where I won't even see the person.
They're gonna fix it via Wi-Fi, right? They're gonna hack into it while they're driving.
I don't believe so. This machine doesn't have Wi-Fi, so yeah. So it's probably going to be a $1,500 to $1,700 service call, but all because of a fucking battery that went bad overnight. Really, because like I said, it was operating totally fine on a Monday. I ran it all day that Monday. I shut it down Monday night, and I fired it up on Wednesday morning, and it had a battery alarm, and it was all fucked after that. So yeah, a little $9 battery costs $1,700 to fix, or more. I mean, it's a minimum of $1,200. So
yeah, well, on the positive note, if those wheels are selling for $250 or whatever, you'll make that money back.
I haven't checked to see if that guy sold those wheels yet or not. I would assume that he did not, unless he lowered his price, which I kind of quit paying attention to it after last Monday's stream. So yeah.
I thought it said sold. I don't think it said how much, or I think it just kills the price on it.
Oh. Yeah, I quit paying attention to it last week. Where'd you go?
Trying to charge my phone.
I got all dirty when picking up the Techno off the floor. Let's RC what's going on. Oh, just normal Monday night shooting the shit. What's going on with you guys? Anybody do anything fun this weekend? I pretty much just lazed around. Well, I didn't laze around. I worked around the house quite a bit. I've been renovating our downstairs bathroom and just slowly picking away at it. So I got a lot of work done on that Saturday. Down to basically paint and trim now. New toilet, new vanity, new sink, new lights, new floor. Adding a shower. So, yeah, basically down to just paint and trim now. Did some stuff around the house. Took some time to relax, too. You got to relax. I did that today. I floated in the pool for about 3.5 hours today. That's why my beard's all fluffy. Full bum mode this weekend. Can't blame you there. I wish I could have. Sounds like a great plan. You can't figure out a lightning cable over there or what?
I don't know. I think my cable might be either that or I got sand in the bottom of my phone, which is a possibility.
Definitely possible.
We'll run that and see what happens.
I think my only complaint about the Ford Ice so far is wheel speed. The 35 turn motor is not spicy enough for me.
On 3S, 4S?
On 3S, yeah. The ESC is only 3S. So it needs a little bit more spice. Rescued a rig out of a swimming hole 3 times this morning. Your rig or someone else's rig? Was going to take the crawlers out today, but the smoke from fires in Canada made its way to Montana. It's terrible today. Interesting. We have been getting some of it every now and then, but not recently. A couple days playing with the high-low. Such a fun setup. Nice. Glad to hear you're enjoying it. I'm going to probably try to run the Ford Ice tomorrow morning. I don't have a whole lot going on tomorrow morning, so I'll probably take this down to the river and run this before work tomorrow. Like before work, as in like from 7:15, 7:30 to 8:30. And then get into the shop and get shit done. Drink my coffee by the river, driving RC cars before it gets hot outside.
Living the dream.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to complain about being able to do that.
My work is having me come in at 6 and stay until 5 now, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, lucky you.
I'm sure I'll see the paycheck and I'm like,
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you think about it, 12 hours is only a half day, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think a rig can be too light? Absolutely, I believe a rig can be too light. However, I'm not sure that it can be too light in general. I think it can be too light for your setup. The lighter the rig gets, the harder it is to tune, especially for traction. You got to have some kind of weight on these tires to get them to work a lot of times. I've seen rigs in the 2.5 pound range that work really well. Lucas Klein in Illinois had one that he built. It worked really well for him, but I've also seen guys struggle to tune 4-pound rigs. So it just depends on the actual setup of the truck, the shocks, the tires, the foams, the wheel choice. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So too light is a setup thing in my opinion, but I prefer 4.5 to 5.5 pound trucks myself.
I think that's where most of mine are. Before, like you said, stuff gets kind of tricky. I think your spending gets a lot higher trying to buy lighter and lighter components to tune.
Man, I don't know, because Lucas's truck was like plastic body axial icon shocks and plastic set of narrow wheels and cut and shut narrowed tires that were, just a standard set of tires. So I think, yeah, you got to spend some money on transmission, but otherwise, like a servo is a servo, but you can find a plastic case servo with aluminum gears or whatever. It may not last very long, but you can do it. You can make your links out of Delrin relatively cheap. So, or aluminum. So it kind of depends on how you're doing it, but yeah. Are you using Crawler Innovations foams? I always have run Crawler Innovations foams. Lil Novas usually. I think that's all I own now, other than the stock foams in this. I haven't changed these yet. 4.5 to 5.5 is about average for most, I believe. You better specify pounds or inches in that. Oh man, sorry, had to.
He's going there this early.
Wouldn't be a Monday night if we didn't go there, right?
He said, "LOL, pounds."
Got me.
All right, now we get it.
Yep, now we're there. I do need to order some little tiny foams for these little tiny crawlers. Little tiny BFGs for the Metal Master Yoda. I started working a little bit on the roll cage on that because I'm going to change up the bed a little bit and mount a 3D printed radiator in the back. So I am going to put some tabs on it. Put some tabs on it and a spare tire mount. So I'm going to work on that a little bit, and I got a bunch of DOM, 3/16 DOM to do a cage for the Bronco body, which is somewhere over yonder. So I gonna build a cage for the Bronco body, and I might trim some stuff on it, make the wheel wells a little bigger. Use the plug from last week, yeah.
I was actually
when can we
that body, and I was like, oh crap, I need to cut the flares off this thing.
Yeah. When can we expect some more C1 leaf spring chassis kits? Jake, that is getting a redesign. So
we were talking about me messing with it live tonight, but I was like, save it.
Yeah. So it's getting redesigned, so it'll be a little bit still, but working on it. All the mullet stuff is not class 1 legal, so I don't know. We're getting rid of that C1 trail chassis setup and going to the C1 Pro setup with leaf springs, but it requires some different bracketry and just some extra work. So, but it's getting rid of it.
I actually made quite a bit of headway on it last Friday before I dipped out for the coast. So, probably I could have a prototype and everything ordered out probably tonight if I wanted, but yeah, we should see it here soon. We just had so many people messaging about that C1 trail, and it's cool. For what we're doing now, I'm just like, there's better ways to do it, so I'm just gonna push into the C1 Pro platform and try and make something that functions and looks decent. So hopefully have that in the next 2 weeks, probably. I should see them. Also, I did get a notification that the next batch of laser stuff will be here tomorrow.
Cool.
I was hoping it wasn't going to show up while I was out of town. That would have been cool.
Nope, no such luck. Do you have any of the high-low front accessory trays?
I do. Actually, yeah. No, we actually kind of have a ton of them.
I don't think that they are in inventory.
No, I don't think I gave you a count for the 3D printed piece that bolts onto this. So
I have a bag of those. I have a bag of those right here. So I guess after the stream, give me a count on those, and I will get those in inventory.
Okay. Yeah, if you do one of these in carbon fiber, hook it up. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. Where is my... Okay, where'd my inventory go?
Colin, you finished building this thing yet?
Oh, yeah, Colin is here in the chat.
I don't know who takes longer, you or Jason, building prototype stuff.
Ouch. That was pretty harsh.
Oof.
Bought Metal Masher body 5 months ago, and way over my head on that one. Never made a cage before in my life. It's one of those bodies where the cage has to be really good, otherwise the body's going to be ruined quick. But just take your time. Take your time and build it right. I have built a few cages for trucks in the past and even for Metal Masher bodies, but this last one I sent back to Masher and had him build it. Ordered my second pace setter. Love this chassis. Building a class 3 this time. Nice. I just, 2 weeks ago, got rid of both of my SCX10 Pros. I'm going to build another one eventually, but wanted to free up some funds to get this Ford Ice, and I do have a Phoenix RTR also that I'm working with, but that it's the Vfd Twin trans. So fits with behind the axle Boco mount. That accessory tray works with the behind the axle mount, does it?
Yeah, and I run mine pretty hunkered down. And there's some slight rubbing on full compression at certain times, but I'm willing to work with that. You can't have it all, but you can get by with skin of your teeth, I guess. But yeah, that's what I run.
Yeah. Did I miss when DSMs are coming back in stock? I need DSM and C1 Pro sliders. DSMs, need to order them.
I was so with in light of the leaf spring, what's his name? The Shapeways kickback is leaf spring conversion kit. I was actually going on Shapeways and updating a lot of this stuff, taking outdated product off, but I was gonna put the newest DSM on there as like another option in case we don't have one. Because I don't have any on hand yet, so.
I think the only one I have on hand here is this one that's in my leaf spring setup, which I guess I could let it go if somebody really needs it, but I would like to finish that truck at some point.
I have a few balloons with some like walled out holes that could put up half price. I don't know. Somebody might find them useful. I'm gonna end up accumulating a whole stack of them.
I mean, if you have them with screwed up holes, you can mail them to me and I can put inserts in them, and then we can put them on the site as inserted. How long until carbon would be available in the accessory trays? I haven't done accessory trays in carbon yet. It's on my list of things to do, but it's not on the top of my list of things to do. I've been struggling keeping up with carbon chassis sales lately, so it's a good thing to have, a good problem to have, having to try to keep up. But also, I've felt recently like all I've been doing is the same thing over and over and over again. I haven't had time to play, haven't had time to experiment. which really bums me out because I really like experimenting and trying things. But when a machine's broken, then it's going to cost, over $1,000 to have the tech come and take care of it. And then being busy with the same thing over and over again, it makes it hard to play. And I really want to play. And then it was summertime too, so family vacations and whatnot. And then, like my whole month of June was full. I had 2 weeks in July that were busy. I had 2 weeks in August that were busy with just outside of work things. So it makes it difficult to have extra time. But I need to get back to that.
I feel you.
At least you have like a set schedule though at work. Like,
yeah.
The thing about being your own boss is you get to pick which 80 hours a week you work. Sometimes it's you get here first thing in the morning. Sometimes you get here at noon. Just depends on what else is going on. But Jake did his with portals. Interesting.
His what?
Colin says I still haven't found a pass-through diff cover.
Do they have it for the AR-44s, 45s? What's that Unimog? I think that's the newest. It's not the newest 6x6. Is the Mon?
The UMG 6x6, yeah, but it's the UMG's been discontinued for a couple of years. I still I don't understand everybody's. I mean, I get it. 6x6s are cool, but like, there hasn't been a new 6x6 out in a couple of years. Like, the axial one's been discontinued forever, and the Traxxas. I mean, you can use Traxxas components, but compatible with Traxxas components, I guess. But I mean, heck, you probably can't even. Can you even get the UMG body anymore? I know you can't get the 2-door UMG body anymore. I don't know about the 6x6.
Yeah, I don't know. Back to building Tamiya Unimogs.
Let's see. Axial UMG 6x6. Yeah, it's discontinued. You can't buy the 6x6 UMG anymore. UMG 6x6 body. I might have to just go through. Hey guys, need a weekend to recover from the weekend. I think we've all been there a couple of times. Let's see, replacement parts. Category. Oh, that's not what I want. Price. We'll go by price, high to low. Yeah, I don't think you can even get the body anymore. Anyway, UMG 10 UMG 10 6x6, and its parts have been discontinued. There is a part number for the diff cover, but I've looked everywhere and can't find it. That's the problem. You guys have any dealer agreements with Canadian hobby shops? We don't have any dealer. We don't have any dealers. Crawler Canyon RC Park in Illinois buys some stuff from us, and Rock Titan RC stocks some skids sometimes, but otherwise we don't have any dealers that stock chassis and stuff like that. There's a possibility of an STL file for an AR-44 pass-through, but I don't know on the longevity. Yeah, that would be the hard part, is getting that to hold a bearing for any amount of time. The UMG 6x6s were known for the center axle gears having issues anyway. So yeah, doing a 3D printed. I mean, unless you went through Shapeways and went through somewhere that can do powdered metal, sintered metal.
I have those ones for the AR-60s still.
Yeah.
Those are good quality. Those were through Shapeways, I believe.
Yeah.
Those are kind of nice. Never tested them, so I couldn't tell you if they hold up or not. But if you're a printing something, that'd be the best route for sure.
I've checked
Actually,
Shapeways and haven't seen anything. If you can get a hold of the regular 3D print file, you can upload it to Shapeways and have them make it. It's not, it doesn't have to already be on Shapeways. So if somebody has a link to it or whatever, you can have it made.
Upload it and get it printed out of steel.
Yeah. Still haven't ran those grunts you got from Tim Weiss?
No, I was I don't know. I don't have anything like good to put them on. Maybe the problem is the FJ40 would fit them good, but the wheels are like too modern for that thing.
Yeah. Do you guys have any drivers going to ASD Crawler's Autism Awareness Crawl in 2 weeks? I saw that the office of the event site burnt down yesterday. Not that I know of. ASD, I would have to check with the Cali drivers and see if any of them are going, but nobody's mentioned it in the group chat, so I would assume not. And that sucks that the office burned down. That's never a good thing. Yeah, that's a bummer. There was a house fire in my neighborhood Wednesday night or Thursday night last week.
Heat related?
I know it was something in their garage. I mean, the house isn't ruined. Like, I don't know if they parked their car in the garage or what. I don't know what happened, but the garage was on fire. So could have been. I mean, it could have been anything. I didn't walk over there and ask them what the hell happened.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Yeah.
What gives?
The garage door's all screwed up, and the soffits on the front of the house are screwed up, and like the outside wall of the garage is all black and covered in soot. But the house looks. I'm sure there's smoke damage inside the house, but the fire didn't get too big before the fire department got there. Luckily, we're only like a half mile from the fire department, so they could about damn near shoot the hose from the fire department and hit that house. So. Guess I need to find that file. Yep, just find. I mean, if somebody can find a AR-44 pass through STL. Let's see if I can find one real quick for people. Link risers, link mounts, servo mounts. Axial diff cover. SCX24 pass through. That won't help you though.
Interesting.
Matera sensor pass through. That won't help you.
Heck yeah.
I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time searching for this, but I'm willing to give it a couple of minutes anyway. Yeah, the ASD event usually is pretty decent. The ASD Crawlers event usually is pretty good. I've seen photos and videos of it in the past, and it always looked pretty good. I don't know. I don't know how much more time I want to spend on this.
You can't give up, man.
I mean, I can. I absolutely can. Boom Racing. Boom Racing has a fat 6x6 and 8x8 center housing. I mean, I don't know what gears or anything like that it uses, but it might be an option for somebody looking. Yeah, I'm done looking for that now. Been looking for that. So what else is going on, guys? Anything at all? I've still got I see Tim, TRD Adventures, bought himself a roll of microfiber towels also. He says watching the stream, I'm buying things I don't need.
Watching, making money. We're getting sales every.
I need to get an affiliate link.
Fiber. Roll. Oh man.
I need to get an affiliate link to Walmart set up so I can make some money on selling microfiber towels.
Yeah. It looks like best like might just be the TRX4 stuff, man.
Which means you're going to have to build with those axles to get link lengths also, because they're different.
No, just whatever gets close.
Yeah, I don't know what other axles there would be.
Once I found all the different rod-end lengths, little stuff like that doesn't stop me. I can usually just put on a different Traxxas link and get the length that I need.
Yeah.
That combined with all the all the holes on the frames, easy.
Yep, I've spent too much time looking for 6x6 axles.
Well, Axial calls it a weird thing. They call it like the tandem axle for some reason.
Yeah.
It's
Tinkering with C channel class and class 2 for next comp. Who has a C channel class? Must be a local rule set to you.
Local rule set that he gets beat by flat rails all the time.
It cracked me up.
Carbureted.
Yeah. It always used to crack me up, and still does, how many people think that flat rails are not allowed in class 1. Like, you see it all the time. People are like, oh, that's not class 1 legal, it's flat rails. What? It's where does it say you can't have flat rails in class 1?
I'll just make the frame 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah.
It'll actually be more realistic than C channel.
I mean, you can make them real thick if you want to. Or you can start with 1/4 inch material and machine them into a C channel.
Yeah.
You can just make your own.
Oh, let me email you that file, by the way, while I'm thinking about it. Oh, wait, no, it's going to pop up on a screen.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, don't do that yet.
I'll do it after the stream.
Jason does. Calls it C2 trail, and one rule is must have C channel. Jason runs fucking 37 classes at his comps, though, too. Doesn't make any damn sense.
Oh, Jason, your 7,000 classes.
Me and Colin were talking about sending stickers for the trophies. And I'm like, I was just thinking in my head, like, 3 trophies per class. I cut 24, printed and cut 24 stickers. I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I got 24 of them done. And he's like, oh, I need like 35. I'm like, shit, seriously? I wonder how they would feel if someone molded carbon fiber C-channel rails. I mean, there's really not, if there's not a has to be steel or has to be aluminum, it just says C-channel. You can do whatever you want to do then, I would assume. Not a whole lot they can. I mean, somebody will bitch, but how much can they really bitch?
Just don't be sad they didn't think of it first.
And seeing that my quality's like nothing. And then I turn the Wi-Fi on and it freezes. Lovely metal building, I guess. The joys of metal buildings. Now it's back to normal.
Speaking of buildings, the Airbnb was on stilts.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was like, man, how much have I had to drink? I'm sitting at the kitchen table and I feel like I'm doing this. And then one other person, like 2 minutes later, was like, "This is a house movie," and I was like, "Okay, good. Somebody else felt this."
I'm not that drunk.
I was like, "Man, this is it's not even that late in the afternoon yet. What's going on?"
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole house, everything sways.
Yeah.
I was kind of joking when we washed some clothes, and I was like, "What's gonna happen when the washer machine goes on the spin cycle?"
Toss the house.
Don't put a pair of shoes in the dryer.
Right.
It's gonna bring the house down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I get the lathe? Did I get the lathe going? No, I did not. I called the tech, and they're like 3 weeks out. So it's going to be a couple weeks.
They're charging you by the hour, so they're walking there.
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, do you guys have anybody in the area working on anything that that's not 3 hours away? And they're like,
No.
well, we don't have anybody scheduled to go up in that area, but we'll see if we get other calls. We try to lump everything together, but I'm like, I'd prefer not to pay $240 an hour for your guy to drive from Fort Wayne, which is 2 hours and 45 minutes away.
I want to get paid
and back.
$140 an hour to drive around.
Yeah, me too. Shit. So that'd be all I did.
Yeah. Good to go.
Yeah. I have the UMG third axle I'd be willing to get rid of. I'm doing a 6x6 all-wheel steer and we'll have to do a carrier bearing setup. There you go, Colin. You can get the center axle from him. I'd email that dumb guy right there. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. I did order another 2 4x8 sheets of Delrin to make skids because I'm out of skids again. I have two left on the shelf that are not in inventory, but so I ordered another $1,400 worth of Delrin. So hopefully that comes in a reasonable time frame.
It's a Skid City.
Yeah. That's enough to make a lot of. It's enough to make a lot of skids. So.
I've used a few.
And I'm still stubborn and haven't thrown away all of the ones that I messed up that one time. There's still probably 40 of them, probably 60 of them on the bench over there by my scrap pile that I need to just throw away because they're taking up square footage on the bench. And every time I look at them, I go, ugh. I need to just throw them away, but I haven't yet.
they're just a reminder. So, you know.
Yeah, I threw that drill bit away.
Yeah, I would have. I'd have probably like smashed it with a hammer until it was flat. Heated it orange, smashed it.
Yeah, smash it flat. Yeah. Yeah, I threw that drill bit away. I don't want to make that mistake again.
Sucks.
Yeah, got to building and forgot about the live. Sorry, guys. Well, to be fair, we haven't been super consistent with going live, so it's not uncommon for people to forget about it when we don't do it all the time. So,
Yeah,
is what it is.
I think I posted about 34 minutes before we went live.
Yeah.
That was right after I was done eating dinner, mind you.
Yeah. Is there a difference between the black and the white that other companies use? No, there's not. Delrin is Delrin. Delrin is a brand name, but acetyl resin, whatever. Just black or white. TJRC uses white because it's different. I think he's the only one that uses white. Chopping up my new Ford ice. I'm gonna start doing that after I drive it some more, but I'll be doing the same thing.
What are you chopping first?
The transmission.
Oh, just separating it.
No, I'm chopping the transmission first. Taking a VFD and knocking it down to this form factor. I don't have everything in front of me here to show it to you guys because I don't know where the other piece is here.
You've already lost all the pieces.
Well, so here, this is a Vfd Twin, okay, but I've cut the top shaft off. This is a standard VFD, but you can see how much shorter it is. And basically what I'm doing is I'm taking this front section of the transmission that the motor shaft normally sticks way out of, and I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise so that the input shaft of the transmission is just above the front output shaft. So you'll have to run like a forward motor mount of some kind, TGH, Toizuki, something. But the form factor of the transmission will be very small and short height-wise. Basically, if you look here, this is your front output shaft. Your input shaft will be directly above it. That's the theory, anyway. And then I'll be able to. I'm going to put a 12-degree angle on the bottom of this, so that it sits flush or sits flat, horizontal, in a 12-degree skid chassis, 10 to 12-degree skid chassis. And I mean, I guess I kind of gave away a whole lot there, but you can put two and two together on what I plan on doing with that. I think one of y'all could sweet talk Josh or Matt into 3D scanning the diff cover. I don't know. It'd be easier to get it to Josh than Matt because Canada. But I don't know what kind of a time frame it would be. Thanks for being here on a holiday. Yeah, no problem. We talked about it. Wesley and I it was like, what, 6:30 my time? I messaged you. I'm like, hey, you feel like doing a live tonight?
Yeah, I was chopping up peppers. And I was like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. Are those bad skids? Have they been drilled for transmissions or are they just blank? They are completely done skids. Full, complete pro skids. Just like this. Just complete, but the side holes are too big for a 3mm screw.
I wonder if you could just machine the top and just make a little keyhole for a 3mm nut.
I think by the time I went through and did all that, I'd be better off just making new ones. Yeah.
It is true. It's probably true.
Yeah. Are you going to design little cases for these VFDs? Maybe, basically. So you're basically making VFDs into transfer case. Essentially, yes, because you would have to have, it would be a divorced motor mount setup where it's not connected. The VFD has those posts that stick out where the motor mount attaches at the frame, and it's all one piece. Where this would be a divorced setup, like a standard transfer case would be. I haven't seen almost any videos on the pace setter for the SCX10 Pro. Does the angle help with the skid plowing on big breakovers? Absolutely, it does. We added 3 degrees to the skid angle and moved the skid up in the chassis just a little bit. So you've got about 4 millimeters of belly height and 3 extra degrees on the skid, which helps a lot. Like a lot. My class 2 pace setter that I built probably had 30 hours of runtime on it, and the skid looked damn near brand new. There were barely any scratches on it, where my Oracle, my class 1 based, the skid was getting pretty rashed up, which had about the same amount of time on it. You can't do inserts on the skids like you were talking about earlier for the DSM. No, because the DSMs are nylon. They're basically laser sintered nylon, and the skids are Delrin, and Delrin doesn't melt, it burns. So trying to put an insert in Delrin won't work. I mean, it might work for a little while, but that's not how I want to do things. So
yeah, and on the DSMs, you're pulling on the nut, you're making a sandwich. But if you do an insert on the skid, the rails are just gonna come off.
yeah. So yeah, if it pulls the insert out of the skid will pop off of the chassis. So it just doesn't. It won't work, and that's not how I want to sell them anyway. So. How long ago was it that I messed those up? Probably 6 months ago.
So I was gonna say it's been a minute. It's been a while.
It's probably been 4 to 6 months. I need to just go ahead and throw them away because, I mean, I can use them for myself. I'll just drill and tap for 4 millimeter screws on the end. I'll run the 3 millimeter set screw all the way through for the links, but then I'll just tap the last 12 millimeters or whatever 4 millimeter. Use a 4 millimeter screw through the chassis. But again, that's not how I want to sell them to a customer. So
no.
Just doesn't work that way. If we could, yeah, it'd be cool if we could get somebody to 3D scan. That's the word I was looking for. The pass-through cover.
And there's got to be something. Like, not believing it. There's nothing out there.
Yeah, there has to be something somewhere. I can't find. So I use Squarespace for the website, and the latest Squarespace update on the computer, I can't find my freaking inventory. Orders are all there. Oh, speaking of, I need to. You sent tracking on like Thursday for stuff, and I completely spaced it. I have not updated some of the orders. So if you haven't received tracking and you ordered something last week, like it shipped, I just haven't gotten. I just completely forgot to do that.
It's in the mail. Trust me.
It shipped.
Yeah, my word.
No trimming with CMS and Fusion Pro for the pace setter. I've had it in my cart 3 times, and the website's pulled up in a tab on my computer. No, there's absolutely no trimming at all with Fusion Pro. Stock gearing, Fusion Pro, no trimming at all. You do have to remove the standoffs between the transmission and the motor mount because of the way everything's moved. But other than that, there's no modification required at all for either the Oracle or the pace setter. Take a factory SCX10 Pro and build it on those rails instead. And yes, the Fusion Pro does fit both chassis with factory gearing. It did not check or test with other gearing other than factory. So
the biggest gears.
Yeah, I don't even remember what size they were, 15 something. Whatever it was. I had something in my brain I was going to say, but I spaced it.
Is that a motor joke?
No. Do you use the Holmes 400XS XX brush motor in your Class 2 also? Yes, I run the Puller 400 13XX in all of my comp trucks. And I always get them with purple hoods. And I use purple washers. I don't know where my Class 2 truck is. Where's my Class 2 truck?
You see my conundrum on the differences in the Class 1 and the C1 Pro?
Okay, so there's a decent look for you guys, but the C1 Trail to C1 Pro, we're trying to make the new leaf spring setup for the C1 Pro, but where the leaf spring mounts are on our C1 Trail setup, nowhere close to where they need to be on the C1 Pro. There's my Class 2 truck, right behind the computer. Tangled up in wires. Winch hook and shit.
Man, I'm pretty sure that one I have sketched out right now would work perfect.
Oh. Don't want to show that front axle. I don't know if I can show that front axle or not. I've had it for like 2 years, but nothing ever came of it. I've had it for a minimum of a year. It's been more than a year, but yeah, nothing ever came of it for some reason, which sucks because I am kind of fond of that front axle. It's got deluxe knuckles on it, but it's just an offset front end Curry style, but like fabricated Fab 9 housing type. Works really well though. I used it at Crawlapalooza last year in Class 2. Is the TGH custom build he was talking about? Is it the TGH custom build he was talking about on the live? I don't know what you're talking about. Did Chris do a live stream or something that I missed? Oh, Chris did go live the other night. I missed it. I'll have to rewatch that and see if something was said about an axle. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. Chris messaged me two or three Saturdays ago at like 1:45 in the morning, and he's like, "You want to do a live?" I'm like, "Bro, it's 1:45 in the morning. I've been in bed for fucking 3 hours. Like, I'm not getting up to go live." And then the following Saturday, he messaged me at like 11 something my time to ask if I wanted to go live also, but I was at a buddy's house chasing RC cars around his track. I think Chris forgets that it's a 2-hour time difference between Denver and here. So at 11 p.m. my time, he's just having dinner at 9.
Yeah.
I'm Shonen infusion.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. I will have to I'll have to pull up Chris's live feed and see what he talked about. Sounds like Chris, yeah. I love Chris though. He's an interesting character to be around. All the TGH guys are though. Super fun group of guys. I haven't been around them for a while since. When's the last time I saw those guys? Probably Nationals last year's last time I saw them in person. You saw them at Rocky Mountain Regionals.
Right. That's a weird place to run into them though, because they're all so busy. You know, I hate to just bother. I just feel like I'm like pestering people, man. So
right.
I just let people do their thing without bugging them too much.
Yeah. Where was Chris live at, if you don't mind typing a comment? Was it in the TGH page or was it on his personal page? Team Garage Hack RC Concepts. I imagine it was probably on the TGH Facebook page. I'll be at the clubhouse in December. It sounds like a good place to be in December is freaking Denver. Facebook TGH page. That's what I figured.
The place where we were trailing or whatever, Lake City in Colorado, it was 55 today. Fun fact.
It was 97 here today in northern Indiana.
Altitude's your friend.
The weather, we talk about this every week, how bipolar the freaking weather is here, but today was 97, tomorrow's 91, back into the 60s Thursday and Friday as highs. Lows in the upper 40s. I've got the Freedom panels off of my Jeep right now, the two front roof panels off the Jeep right now.
You gotta be
probably put them back on when I get home. I'll be bundled up in the mornings at 49 degrees. That's freaking cold, dude. Do you think that not having a pinched front and rear width on a pace setter is a disadvantage on the Pro in comparison to one of your Class 2 rail setups? It definitely can be, because it hinders your wheel choices. My Oracle, my Class 1 style build that I built, the Panhard mount was rubbed. All the anodizing was, all the paint was rubbed off of it from the front tire rubbing it. My Class 2 truck, the pace setter, did not rub, but I had like 450 hubs on it. It was pretty wide to keep it from rubbing. Now, if you wanted to, you could narrow up that chassis a lot by using a TGH style dual servo mount and a TGH motor mount. You would have to drill your own holes to put a narrow servo mount in it, but you could pinch the front end down just like you would any other chassis if you wanted to. And since if you're using the pace setter, you've already got the motor mount disconnected from the transmission anyway. So doing a TGH forward motor mount would just be drilling holes to mount it, or making some sort of a tab or bracket to mount it. But if you're going through all that work, you might as well just use one of our other chassis. The reason I designed both of those two chassis is to get people to step into custom builds. A lot of people don't have the confidence or the know-how to hand select a bunch of different components from a bunch of different places to build a full custom truck, but they can buy a stock kit and bolt on an aftermarket chassis as an upgrade. And then they can bolt on aftermarket shocks as an upgrade. And then they can bolt on aftermarket drive shafts as an upgrade. And before they know it, they've stepped their comfort zone up enough to where they can build a custom truck. And that's where both of those chassis come into play, is just their stepping stones. There are things that got left on the table when designing those chassis, but again, they are 100% bolt on to the factory components. Now I'm torn. I totally missed the Oracle, so I could go build a Class 1 out of the Pro and keep using my TGH hog with F10 portals for my Class 2. You absolutely could. And when we designed the Oracle, the very first thing I did was send one to Wyatt, the designer of the SCX10 Pro. And he built his as a Class 1 with the Oracle, and he used the AR44 or AR45 portals, the 10-3 portals, instead of the factory axles. And they bolt right in, same links, same everything. So even if you wanted to run portals, you absolutely can just swap them out for the AR45 portals instead of the Pro axles. What rail setup would you recommend? If you are capable of truck, it depends on how custom you want it to be, because if you want something that's reasonably easy to just slap together, our C1 Pro or our ATL Pro V2s are fantastic chassis that are very user-friendly to build. If you're wanting to build something even more custom, that's where you'd step into like a high-low or something. But when you do that, the components you choose are a lot more picky whether they work together or not. You have to really plan out the build if you're going to do a high-low. Where the C1 Pro and the Pro V2 are a lot more universal, basically. My current Class 1 and my current Class 2 are both C1 Pros, but my backup Class 2 truck is an ATL Pro V2. And I even built a Class 3, which one of our team drivers in Hawaii has, off of a C1 Pro. I built all 3 trucks as C1 Pros. They all 3 had the same shocks. They all 3 had the same motors. All 3 had the same transmissions, everything. So that if I had an issue, I could just swap stuff back and forth between whatever. And they all drove reasonably similar, other than tire height, and Class 3 had 4-wheel steer. But yeah, just kind of depends on your comfort zone and what components you have on hand, or whether you plan on ordering everything.
Did you have portals on your Class 1? I don't remember.
Yes, Class 1 has portals. I don't know where it's at. Right here. F10. F10 portals. I broke too many AR45 portal housings.
I will say
and the F10 steer really well.
The Vanquish plastic housings.
Dude, they steer like crazy, and I've never broke one. I beat the brakes off this truck too. Puller 413 turn on 4S always. This truck's a ripper. And I haven't broken a housing yet. Love my pace setter. I really like mine too. Well, I liked mine too. It was definitely one of my favorite trucks to just grab and drive. I drove it for probably 8 hours straight at Axial Fest one day. I just kept throwing packs in it. And anybody who stopped to watch, I just handed them the radio, and I let a bunch of people drive it on that Friday. A bunch of people drove it. So I really like driving that truck. I'd have to look up and see who purchased it. I sold both the pace setter and the Oracle build, and I haven't seen either of them been posted since then. Like, no pictures of them. Yeah, no nothing. Which was I found strange, because they're both fun builds. They're both they were both fantastic tracks. So.
They got stripped down, parted out.
I mean, it's possible. No kidding on the 45 portals. First crawl, snap the 45 portals. I did the exact same thing. When I built my 2022 Class 1 Sorca truck, I had about 3 minutes on it and broke a front knuckle. And I broke the C hub, broke the lower arm off of the C hub, and it broke the knuckle at the same time. And I was like, that is not a good start. I don't know whether I had too much steering in it or what, because what I was doing, I didn't feel that it should have broke. But
I think for me, in that kind of environment, if there's one glitch, one anything, whether it's servo, ESC, motor, drivetrain, I'm like, never again. On to the next brand.
Yeah, dude, if it's a comp truck and you have to, it has to be right. If you want to be competitive, your comp truck has to be right and it has to be 100% reliable. And if there's a question on a part, it gets replaced. I mean, it's no different than guys that do racing too. We racing 1-to-1s, racing buggies, racing whatever. If you got a part that's even remotely questionable, it gets a new one.
Yep. If I'm doubting it, I'm probably replacing it.
Right.
Right before Crawlapalooza, I'm just like usually spending $300-400 and just getting new servos or whatnot.
I usually put new bearings.
Yeah, bearings.
New bearings, some new hardware, and just go over everything. Sometimes I'll tidy up wiring or whatever that I've been putting off, but the Pro is what got me started on the flat rail thing. Started with a pace setter, then mullet, now high-low. Fell into that hole head first. It doesn't take much, does it? But that's exactly what I'm talking about is, one truck got you into flat rails and it, probably opened up your comfort zone a little bit into it. And now you're three builds in and it's way easier for you now, I'm sure.
I get asked, like at work, I'll be talking about like what I do here, and they're like, if I was to build one, how much would it cost? And I'm like, man, I only build from scratch. So I know I live by the buy once, cry once motto. So everything's, I'm probably going to buy the best of what I need. The best part that would get me through what I need to get through.
Yep.
So I have to keep buying.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm like doubting any kind
That's one of the hardest questions to answer when somebody asks you, well, how much does it cost to build one? Well, I mean, Christ, you can build one for $300, but but this one's about $2,000 or $2,200. So like, what do you want to do? Colin, I change a drive belt every race in my RS1. You have to. You have to. And I mean, that's kind of why I stopped racing side-by-sides was even the most local race to me, it's 45 minutes down the road. You're still looking at a minimum of, you're gonna have to put gas in the tow rig. So it costs $100 to fill the truck up. You got $20-ish gate fee per person, and you got you and at least your co-driver, sometimes a third guy. So there's another $60 there. Then you got to eat at some point during the day, and race entry fees are a couple $100. And in an hour endurance race, we're burning 11 gallons of race fuel at $12 a gallon. So there's another couple $100 in everything else. It's $1,000 day if you don't wreck the fucking thing. And that's to race local. Then you start traveling, racing Ultra 4 and stuff. They raced Crandon this weekend with Ultra 4. That's a 7.5-hour drive from here. If we take the toter home and stacker, you get 5 miles to the gallon. Diesel fuel is $4 something a gallon. Like, that's a lot of money in race fuel and everything else that goes along with it. So it's just how deep do your pockets go. That's exactly what I tell people with this or with 1-to-1 racing or whatever. It's, you can spend every penny if you If you open your wallet, the money will fall out. You will find some way to spend money. I'm thinking about seeing if I could drill out the AR-44, AR-60 portal adapter from Deluxe to fit the Pro axle, but would have to find axle shafts. I haven't looked into any of that at all. Treel aluminum axle housings work for me. I'd like to try Vanquish 10.3 housings, but need to overcharge a few jobs to pay for. The nice thing about the Vanquish housings is you can really crank the steering up and get a bunch of angle out of them. Colin, not sure how to get a hold of you through YouTube. If you have Facebook, just search Colin Greenfield on Facebook. He's a kid with a mullet.
Profile
How do you
pics,
become a
probably
millionaire?
side by side.
Yeah, probably. How do you become a millionaire in racing? Start out as a billionaire. I'm pretty sure at this point that you have to start out as a multi-billionaire or a trillionaire. It got out of hand real fast. I mean, we're spending $7,000-8,000 for a set of 4 shocks for a side by side at this point. Even just buying a brand new Polaris to go race, you're looking at $40,000, and then you got to do another $15,000 worth of mods to it
And safety equipment.
before you ever line up on a starting line. You got $65,000-75,000 wrapped up in a side by side before you even took a green flag.
I've noticed a lot of race drivers now. They have to have YouTube channels and social medias to kind of like raise extra revenue.
Yeah, just racing King of the Hammers in February. It costs $6,000 to drive there and back in diesel fuel. $6,000 just to get there and back. You're gone for 13 to 15 days from work. So, especially somebody like me that doesn't get a freaking paycheck, especially if I'm not here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
By the way, you going next year?
We'll see. I haven't decided yet. It's up in the air. I mean, I have my USAC insurance and all that stuff, but if I go, it would be a fly out, fly back. I'd probably fly out to Palm Springs, California again. Drive to Chicago, fly to Palm Springs, catch a ride from Palm Springs to Hammers.
Yeah, I'd be torn. It'd be cool to drive. I don't mind the drive. Just the drive out of Texas sucks. Other than that, not too bad.
I've made the drive from Indiana twice, and it's 36, 38 hours in the toter.
What's the top speed on that bad boy?
It'll run 75 with the cruise set. It doesn't care. It's like 500 horse cat.
Yeah.
But it's 83 feet long, tip to tail. But you set the cruise and just let it eat.
Yeah.
20K in a built motor and trans for a 2-cylinder. Cost versus horsepower is crazy. Yes, it is. Yep. It gets even worse when you add an extra cylinder in a Can-Am or Yamaha. Side-by-side or a nice BMW or Mercedes. Crazy how side-by-side money is. Far cry from those Honda Odyssey and Pilot and Buggy days. Yeah, well, and we went from, 2019, the Polaris RZR Turbo, the Turbo S in 19, the top-of-the-line Turbo S was $19,000. Now the top-of-the-line RZR is, 48. How did we double in 3 years, 4 years? Double the price of the machines.
I'll just get me a GR Corolla.
Yeah, well, I sold my used race side by side and bought a freaking Rubicon Wrangler 4-door, free and clear, lifted, modded, and whole 9 yards. So it's I made that same choice. Let's have a daily driver instead. Although my side by side was street legal and I was using it fairly often as a daily driver, but
details.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much longer the side-by-side market's gonna last with, 40 plus $1,000 side-by-sides. I'm not entirely sure why insurance companies are still insuring these things because nobody is well, half the people are nice to them and half the people just beat it like a redheaded stepchild knowing that they have insurance on it. The number of side-by-sides that we sold at the dealership that would come back the following week just wadded up was pretty wild. There was a group of friends that lived local to the dealership that like 9 of them bought side-by-sides within 2 or 3 weeks of each other, and I think 5 of them totaled them the same night. Like, have you priced a golf cart? Yeah, I'm not spending so I'm looking for an electric golf cart
Yeah.
because the neighborhood I live in, my mom and stepdad live about an eighth of a mile down the road from me, and my wife's mom and dad live directly across the street from my mom. And then my real dad and his wife live about a mile down the road. But dude, I'm not spending 10 plus $1,000 on a fucking electric golf cart. Not happening. Not happening. I'll buy a used Tesla instead, thanks.
There's
Like,
I was at Lowe's and they had some Coleman cart, and I was walking in. I just happened to glance over, and I was like, 900. Oh no, 9,000.
no, 9 grand.
I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
was just at
900. I'll
Lowe's today.
sign me up. Let's go. But I was like, oh,
Yeah, no.
9 grand. Oh gosh,
Yeah, and that's not even like an easy go golf cart. That's a
Coleman.
Coleman go kart on steroids. And if you have any competitive bone in your body as a privateer, it's hard to compete with factory supported racers with a basically stock machine. That's yeah, yeah, you're not going to. Buddy of mine and I were talking the other day about how Ultra 4 needs like a spec class or whatever. And I was like, well, hell, look at the Pro Mod UTV class. The top 8 guys are all running CT Raceworks, an aftermarket company, CT Raceworks chassis, A arms, and all that stuff, and G Force suspension shocks, and Evo Motorsports tunes, and the same clutching. Like these guys are all running mirror image cars because most of them are sponsored by Can Am. You want a spec class? There's your spec. You got to run what they're running, or you ain't going to win. The unfortunate part is for somebody, a privateer, to purchase or build one of those cars is $100,000+. So, unless your wallet is heavy,
I'm thinking
you're going to have to outdrive those guys, and outdriving guys that drive for a living is very hard to do.
I'm thinking the Everyman challenge is more in people's budget.
Man, okay, so we'll use that as an example. The EMC race at Crandon this weekend, the guy who won the EMC class has a I'm going to assume well no, I'm going to assume he has a 40 or $50,000 1,000 horsepower engine that he puts in just for Crandon. Where my buddy Sean was running in second place with a garage built 600 horse LS and was just getting ran away from in the straightaways because that guy has just stupid money and horsepower. But then Sean would catch right back up to him in the rocks. You get outran by money every time.
Yeah. So it's not really Everyman. Well, it is Everyman. It's not your average man challenge.
No. Even the 4,600, like the stock class, if you're not running a $300,000-$400,000 Bronco, you're not going to win either. I know a guy, but he's here in Oregon. If you want a golf cart, that's a long way to ship a golf cart. Saw a dude driving down the road this afternoon with the street legal plate on it and golf clubs close to. Oh, in Canada. Okay, yeah. So there's townships and whatever that you can plate side by sides, but mine was just like street legal, kind of. I had plates and stuff on it and insurance on it, but it was kind of gray area. I'll stick to 1/10 toys. Yeah, but even still, I mean, you're not going to show up with a stock 10.3 at a Sorka comp and win it. I promise. Like,
I mean, why kind of?
Okay. You can show up with an SCX 10 Pro and get second place. He's got a lot of trigger time on everybody, though. To try to beat Wyatt or Nabil was pretty tough. Race the amateur class, and it's legit. First year, any form of organized racing, competing against two kids, age 11 and 13, both with Polaris-sponsored cars. Yep.
Good.
It happens. It absolutely happens.
What you do right before the race, you sneak into their pits and take their booster seat out of the race seat and throw it in the dumpster.
Didn't say they would be inexpensive. I would venture to say that inches to pounds, this is more expensive than a side-by-side, but there's only a finite amount of money that you actually can spend on one of these, where the side-by-side stuff, I don't think, the one-to-one stuff, I don't think there's an end to the money you can spend, where I'm pretty sure this has an end. I haven't found the end yet, but I'm pretty sure there is an end. I'm sure his Pro wasn't what we got in the box. It was. I'm sure it was pretty close. Reasonably close, anyway. Is that Nabil guy from San Diego? I'm not sure where Nabil's from.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't talked to him like that. Harley Designs did do a Wednesday night live stream last year with Nabil. I didn't get to watch it live because I was flying to Florida at the time, but I did watch it back. Nabil is a wealth of information, but you have to ask about it. He's not the type of guy to just talk. You have to ask. Nabil, let's see if it says on his Facebook where he's from. Yeah, it says San Diego. Yeah, it says San Diego on his personal Facebook. But yeah, Nabil's been in the hobby for a very long time, and he knows a lot about a lot. So if you have a chance to watch Harley's video live Wednesday night live with Nabil, it's worth a watch. ATL Pro 2 are there spacers that should go on either side of the forward motor mount? I think it's TGH1. Yes, you will need a 3 to 4 millimeter spacer on one side of the TGH forward motor mount. Our dual servo mount is 70 millimeters, and the TGH forward motor mount is 67. So you can get 3 or 4 millimeter round spacers, or cut a piece of 1/8 inch anything to stick in between there. I typically stuck the spacer on the side, whichever side you have your front upper link, because it'll allow you to wrap the front upper link around the motor mount. I can probably show you on this truck.
You think that's something we'd ever want to update? If I take the 1.5 mm off each side of the DSM?
My problem with
at some point.
Yeah, my problem with that is it usually introduces bump steer. I'm not a personal fan of 67 millimeter width, just because of the way most of the axles are set up.
It shortens up the panhard.
Yeah, it shortens up that panhard mount. It gives some bump steer. So yeah, there is a spacer. You're not going to be able to see it, but there is a spacer between the forward motor mount. But what that allows you to do is get the front upper link to go next to the motor mount, like up against the frame. So whichever side your front upper link is on, put the spacer on that side. It's super hard to show in camera like this, but
Yeah.
if you need pictures, PM the Brazen Facebook page and I can send you pictures of whatever you need to see. This is a C1 Pro chassis, but it's the same setup for the Pro V2. I'd like to see Nabil and Barry Sobel run against one another. That would be a pretty good one. And I'd like to see a couple of other people in that also. Ryan McGann, I'd like to see him drive in person. I've been, I've seen Ryan on all the RC Crawler forums and a lot of the other pages. I'd like to see him drive in person, especially against some other people that I know are good. And is that link in the link kit you offer? I have it as well, the upper. I don't remember. I think this truck has a hardcore RC link set on it. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that the link set that I had on the site for like the 12.3-inch wheelbase, you should be able to use the front upper link that's in that. It should be a bent link, so it should form around the side of the. You basically want the bend in the link to go out around the motor mount instead of like high clearance up like you would see it. You want it to go around the motor mount, which I have both of these front lower links. The bends are facing out, so they're like flat. They're not like they're a high clearance bend link, but the bends are turned out, so the links are flat still. Where the rears, you can see, have the bends facing up. It allows you to go around things with the links. Tim Samuels, he'd be another good one to watch too. Is the key keeping the steering link and panhard the same length to avoid bump steer? They need to be similar in length, but a lot of it has to do with the angle that they're mounted at. So like you can see here, you can't even really tell that there's two links there because they're in the same plane. But there are two links there. And a lot of it is keeping them in the same plane, but they need to be relatively the same length. So narrowing up the chassis changes that length of the panhard, and it can introduce bump steer. Like this truck, my Class 2 truck, has a different brand of front axle under it, and it was designed around a 70 mil or a 67 millimeter setup, and it does have some steering travel. I wouldn't call it bump steer because it doesn't stay, like it doesn't continue to get worse. It does move during suspension travel, but it moves back in the other way. But that's just because it was designed around something that's 67 millimeters wide instead of 70. Lucky enough to have a Tim Samuels build. He's local to me. He's a super nice guy. I've talked to Tim online a few times, and yeah, I've never seen anything other than him being helpful. So, one of the OG Sorka guys. Sorry, I interrupted you. The other thing, what?
Oh, the only thing I have that's 67 is actually the brace on the high-low, but it's 4 links. So.
But you're running axle mounted servo there.
All the stuff we have 70.
Yep, and it's not from lack of figuring things out either. It's not like we just landed on that number for no reason. 67 millimeters does work when everything else is designed around 67 millimeters, but this is what it is. Yep, just requires a little bit of a spacer on one side of the motor mount is all. This truck actually has a 70 millimeter wide skid in it instead of a 78. So this truck, the whole chassis is 70 millimeters wide all the way down. Yep, no pinch on this one. I do need to add a brace or two in the rear of this. It's got some flex. I need to drive this truck some more too. I haven't. Man, I can't even remember if I've driven this truck this year. I built this 2022 legal truck in October, like November, and I haven't been to a Sorca comp yet this year. So I don't think I've driven this other than just around the shop. But it's essentially the exact same build I ran last year, except a carbon chassis instead of aluminum. I was running this carbon body last year anyway. So all I did was basically swap the chassis to carbon and then change bumper lengths for 2022. I did respond to that wedding invitation that I'm not going.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah. I'm not sure that they were happy about that because I did not receive any type of a reply. So, yeah. We'll see if I made them mad or not.
I'll probably have you come up with a kind of a nice little like banner or something for Brazen After Dark at Crawlapalooza.
Can do.
And I'll double check with Baskins.
Yeah. So when doing shocks,
yeah.
no, I think if it's after their normal shenanigans are done, I don't think they'll care.
I think they just want some sleep after after a certain time of day.
Yeah, they want us to get away from their camper.
Yeah.
So when doing shocks at full droop or regular extended springs, do you set the shock equidistant from the tower to the axles, and then under compression, does the axle then shift slightly? If you're running a 3-link setup, your axle will always shift during suspension cycling in straight compression. I personally run my trucks almost fully compressed at all times. So when I'm building the panhard bar, I center the axle for that because that's where the truck's going to be most of the time. When the axle articulates one side at a time, you don't notice sweep like that. It's mostly vertical extension and compression that the axle will swing underneath the truck. So just center it at ride height as best you can and deal with the consequences from whatever after that. Martin Chafin, thanks for checking in, buddy. But yeah,
he's probably trying to reach out to us, and we're on live.
Yeah.
At least he didn't call me.
No, that's Austin.
Yeah,
that's Austin. But yeah, my Class 1 truck basically sits at full compression all the time on an 80 millimeter shock on portals. Sleep is for the weak. I don't know. I like my beauty sleep, but I can also like master switch shutdown to fall asleep. Like I don't have to
hit the pillow and wake up.
Yeah, dude. I don't have to like have a sound machine or a fan or something blowing. Like if I close my eyes, I can be in the most uncomfortable looking position you could ever think of. If I close my eyes, I'm out, dude. Like
nice.
The other day, my son was playing with the dog. They were running around the basement, throwing toys, squeaking toys, whatever. I fell asleep in the recliner. TV on, him running around, dog running around. My wife was like, "What? How do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Close my eyes and shut the world off."
I've been prepping for this my whole life.
Yeah, I've been in dad mode my whole life.
Yeah, that Airbnb, there was a hammock in the bottom of the house and like under the stilts or whatever. I was tempted to just chill there. Then I woke up this morning and made sure I didn't have anything down there, and I saw a snake out there. I was like, oh, okay, that'd been cool.
Yeah, end up with a snake in your hammock. You recommend straight axles for C2S ATL2 build. I personally run straight axles in Class 2, yes. I always run portals on my Class 1s, and I almost always run straight axles on Class 2.
That's something I've been transitioning out of, is portals outside of Class 1. Although I do have the mullet Class 2, but that's just portals in the rear.
Yeah.
This makes up for me not paying attention. That's all it is.
Yeah. If I'm tired enough, I can sleep anywhere. Yeah. If I get the heavy eyes, I could be driving and fall asleep. Like,
oh God.
Right quick. I'm gonna be watching a video, I'm like literally holding my phone, watching a YouTube video, and I just like conk, hit myself in the face with my phone when I drop it, and then I wake up and go, crap.
At least it's not your teeth.
Yeah. Portals mostly for clearance purposes in Class 1. Yeah, so with a smaller height tire, running a portal, you have the same axle height clearance as a straight axle in a Class 2. It allows you to look a little further ahead of the truck. And my explanation, my reasoning for it is, in a comp, you only have 6 minutes, and you have to make your decisions fast, right? If you can look 10 feet further ahead of the truck, you can plan your route to get to the next gates much better than if you're staring at the front of the truck looking for little rocks that are in front of the truck. You look for bigger rocks that are 10 feet away from the truck, and you can plan how to avoid them at that point.
That's where I'm at.
I already lost a headphone. Not good, man. We got 20 minutes left. I'm already down a headphone.
You've been talking a lot, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Or listening a lot. One of the two.
Yeah. I could fall asleep driving at work all the time, have to constantly chug Monster. That's not good for you, but I feel you. I feel you. I can have a Red Bull in my hand and fall asleep.
I think I found
doesn't do a whole lot to me.
I think I found on like road trips, if I drink too much energy drinks, I feel like I get a crash. Like I have, you could be like 2 bangs in or something, like the most like aggressive freaking energy drink, and then you're like, oh God, I'm still nodding off. What's going on?
Yeah. The side winch mount thingy for the high-low works pretty good. It looks slick. Yeah, it works pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You just have to make sure you guide your winch line away from anything moving. And if you have that front accessory tray, there's a hole through it.
I used the route end there. That was a late. What was that? Jake might remember. That might be like a 1 or 2 in the morning add-on. But it worked, so I never messed with it.
Yeah. What winch do you have on that now? Is that a Reefs?
No, it's so as fate would have it, right when I got to Rocky Mountain, and then when everyone talked me into running Class 3, I had actually pulled this NSD.
Oh, NSD, that's what it is.
RS 400 winch. So I was like, all right, I got a winch, so might as well run it, I guess. It was that was also my first time running 4S, which that winch was too fast on 4S. It actually ran, like it pulled into the stick and was trying to pull the stick into the truck. And I heard that winch bog down. I was like, oh my God, I'm like fumbling around on my radio. I'm like, I look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But I thought for sure,
my comp trucks.
I thought for sure I was going to bend this mount, but that mount did not move. So I was impressed.
My comp trucks have the Holmes TGH Progress winch in it that's not available anymore, but the Holmes little tugger or tug buddy, whatever it's called, is a pretty decent winch. My buddy was a paramedic and had calls with teens in distress from pounding Red Bulls. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not good for you.
I remember the
SDRC
Loco
RS100
days.
winch. Yeah, exactly.
When they had caffeine, caffeinated malt beverages.
Yeah, back in the day, Four Locos, the OG Four Locos.
The OG.
Wes, do you have any pictures of that truck anywhere online so you can check it out?
Not since Rocky Mountain. At least none like under the hood, so to speak. Mostly because I'm kind of particular about wiring, and that kind of still looks like a shit show. It's not terrible.
What radios do you use in your comp trucks, and are all of your trucks on the same radio? So previously, up until about 6 months ago, I used a FlySky GT3C, a hacked GT3C, and I had 12-ish models on this radio. You can have up to 99 after you hack them. And I actually like this radio quite a bit. I never ever had a problem with this radio. Programming it after the hack, getting all the winch and all that stuff working on all your models can be picky, can be finicky. But I always liked this radio. But last fall at Crawlapalooza, one of our team drivers from Hawaii, Jake, had a FlySky Noble NB4 Pro that he said he didn't like. So I traded him some stuff for this radio, and I really like this radio so far. It's dusty and dirty because I also bound it to my new Techno Buggy, and it was pretty dusty the other day when we were out running. But this radio I found to be much easier to program, especially with the touchscreen and digital display and all that stuff. Model memories are great. All of your switch controls are much easier to program switches to on this radio than the GT3C. I do still have a bunch of trucks programmed to this radio. The nice thing about having two radios now is that basically most of my trail trucks either have like factory radio systems in them or are programmed to this. So if I have somebody with me that doesn't own trucks or wants to drive one of my trucks, I can hand them this radio, but my comp trucks are on this other radio. The other nice thing about this radio is it's very easy. I went through the hassle of setting up my class 1 truck, and then you can copy the model. You can copy all the settings and paste them onto another model. So since my class 1 and class 2 trucks are identical electronics wise, I copied all of my settings from my class 1 to my class 2, and the only thing I had to change was like steering endpoints because of the different front axle. But otherwise, all the buttons and everything remained the same, and it was much more difficult to do that on the old radio than this one. But Wesley uses old radio.
Hey, I was.
Wesley's radio might as well still have crystals.
I think it was the one made right after crystals were aborted.
It's the first 2.4 gigahertz radio.
It has the antenna knob that's like the stall.
Yeah.
Hey man,
have you tried the Futaba? Yeah, I have not tried any Futaba or any of the other brands. I've had the FlySky stuff since like 2006, 2005, and I've had two different of the hacked. I had like the GT2 or whatever, and then the GT3C, both hacked, and I had good luck with them forever. So I would like to see how you have it set up if possible, Wes. Been building this high-low for months now.
What? Oh man, you should have DM'd it. Have you messaged us? I would have.
Yeah,
I would have sent
DM.
pictures by now.
Yeah, DM the Brazen Facebook page and they'll send you pictures.
Yeah.
Does Noble have a momentary switch for the winch? So I have this Noble Pro. If you have the regular Noble NB4, Tim from TRD Adventures does a fantastic video on setting up how he set up his winch. Unfortunately for the Pro, the way that Tim did it does not work. It's not the same programming. It's not the same steps. But on my radio, I have the winch out button is right here on my thumb to go out. Wait, no.
It's been a year.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. My winch out is right here on my middle finger. So my main thing with winching is you need to be able to do everything one-handed, because especially winching out, because if you are trying to winch your truck in a comp and you can't hold the steering wheel in a specific spot and winch out at the same time, you're going to be screwed, because there's a lot of times where you're got the steering turned and trying not to hit a gate. If you let go of the steering wheel and it hits the gate, or the truck's in a precarious position and you let go of the steering wheel and the truck falls, you can't have that. You don't want that to happen. So if you can't hold your steering wheel and hit your winch button at the same time, it's not good. So my winch out button is right here. My winch in button is here. No, here. Winch in button's on the front, because you've already hooked your winch up. Now you've got your hand back on the steering and you can winch with your index finger and throttle with your other index finger. I had it set up. The reason I'm confused is because I had it set up with this back button, but I didn't like it. You can also set up these top switches. These are like 4-direction switches. You can set up either one of these to do whatever you want to do. You've also got these knobs here. There's a switch here on each side. This knob up here can be a full rotation knob, or be like a half turn knob. So I had my class 3 set up on rear steer here as a potentiometer, so it was just a constant, full turn, not like a interval, because I hate that. Play trucks versus comp trucks makes sense.
I tried running my winch on my radio with a switch by my finger, but I don't run my hook wrapped over on like a bungee. So if I hit my winch and it starts pulling in, it's trying to pull through the frame.
Yeah.
I usually have to disable that on like trail runs or something.
Yeah. You're a one-handed driver. I'm not a one-handed driver typically, but if you are pulling your winch out, you can't move the truck, for one. If you move the truck, that's a touch. And number two, if you let go of the steering sometimes, or sometimes you're holding on the throttle to keep the truck in a specific place too, sometimes you're doing all three at the same time. And if you can't do all your controls from one hand, you're fucked. And I run 4S and the fast gear sets in those winches. So like, I don't have to hold on to it for very long like that. So it zips the winch right out, and then I winch back in. Works great. I use a 7 PXR in my race cars and drift cars. There's a lot of very good radios. I'm not super well versed in the Futaba stuff. I know a lot of people like them though. Kind of want a Noble for my mini Z's. Tim has some good videos on the regular Noble. But like I said, the Noble Pro programming and channel mixing is a little different. So if you get the Pro, some of his steps don't work.
I think I'll work on this thing this week.
Yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to go drive the Ford Ice. That was one thing I was going to talk about. Since we're on the radio subject, the radio that comes with this Ford Ice is very interesting. So for one, it's a 4-channel radio. Yeah, so for one, it's a 4-channel radio, but it has a digital screen. Endpoint adjustments are nice in there. I haven't gone through all of the menus, but there's a lot of different menus you can go through. The weird thing about this radio, and I haven't seen anybody mention anything about it, is how the hell you put batteries in this thing. This radio is like a Tetris radio. There's a knob or a little click release down here on the bottom side. You release that and you slide the handle off. There's battery connections there and a battery connection here. But then you have to pop this next piece out and the batteries go inside there.
Huh. Is that a 30 round, 30 battery clip, or what do you got there?
No, it's only a 4-round mag.
Extended.
It's a 4 AA mag, standard capacity. Legal in California.
Semi-automatic. Give you cancer.
Yeah.
Not recommended for pregnant women.
Yeah. Check local and state regulations before purchasing. But this is a 4-channel radio, so you can run lights and whatever. You can program stuff put it on your 4th channel. You can turn on and off lights with the 4th channel. It's a 3-position on the 4th channel. So you guys are the best live for info in this hobby. Thanks for all I've learned from you. You're welcome. I appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that a lot. We also learn a lot from Harley and Scale Builders Guild too. So make sure you watch those guys too. And Tim, TRD Adventures, always has great videos. He talked a lot about ESCs last Thursday. He's been going through testing a bunch of different ESCs. So I watched quite a bit of that. I didn't comment very much. I was just listening while I was doing other stuff, working on the bathroom. But I was there listening.
If you didn't think I didn't message Matt from Skill Builders Guild once about chopping this body into 12 pieces, you'd be wrong, because I definitely did.
I definitely did.
Hey, I have 12 pieces here on the bench. What do I do next?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got about 2 minutes left here. I'm going to before my last headphone dies here, and before I get out of here for the day, I'm gonna drop this car down off the lift because I don't like leaving stuff up like this. So I'm going to lower this car down. We were working on it a little bit earlier today, but I want to get it down, and I might as well show you guys a little bit of it. This was, like I said, this was my grandpa's car. Grandpa passed away in like 2007, but so this belongs to my dad now. Eventually it'll be mine, but we're gonna start working on it and get it back on the road. Mostly original 55.
To answer your question, Checkered, I obviously was a little bit inspired by the jelly bean body I have, but I'll have to post a pic because I took a lot more out of this. I have a comparison picture, but I could grab the truck, but this body is way smaller than jelly bean. But I'm just building it.
Yeah, it's quite a bit smaller.
I'm building it for this frame because I destroyed this body I had on here at Rocky Mountain. So it's gonna get a hard body. I'll have it ready for Carlapalooza.
So yeah, this was, like I said, Grandpa's car, mostly original 55 Bel Air. This fender is missing the chrome, but original seats.
Yes.
We've got the steering wheel trim, just it's not in there. Really, really clean car. No rust, no rot anywhere on it. So, yeah, I'm glad to be the keeper of it for now till till we get it back done.
You can't beat that color, man.
Right.
When I think of a 57 Chevy, that's the color.
Yeah. Yep, this is that's 55, not 57, but yeah, the teal and white and the red and white are really where it's at for me.
I think the only thing
Lost
I
both
like
headphones
more
now, so.
is those wagons. Aren't those
Yeah, the
pretty
Nomads.
rare?
Yeah. So you guys are getting a view on the backside of the lathe now.
It's less impressive.
Yeah, it's a lot less impressive from the backside.
She's not as pretty from the back.
No, not so much. Couple dirt bikes working on side by side. I'm working on.
Hey Brett, you got any hookups on a DRZ 400? Asking for a friend.
No, not really.
Oh, come on, man.
So anyway, it's after 10 o'clock. I've lost both of my headphones now.
Now we just got that Brett POV.
Yeah. So thanks for checking in on us on another Monday. We will see you on the next one. And if you have any questions, just PM us on Facebook or Instagram. We'll try to reply to them as quick as we can. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Later, fellas.
Later.